So moving finally to who should register. So having trotted through the benefits of registration, what you have to go through to get a registration, I think it's fairly clear that the person who should own a trademark registration is in fact you. Now, of course, that could be you, the NZ entity that is then selling into Australia or selling into the US or selling into Europe. Or it could be your local wholly owned entity. That's absolutely fine. And that can be driven by tax reasons for that. That's also absolutely fine. Most countries around the world have basically the same rule for who should own a trademark, and it should be the entity that's using it, i.e. the entity that's licensing or the entity that is hands-on using that brand. So whether you set up some intra-group company arrangements to allow that to happen, or whether you actually do have an entity in each country that's using that trademark, doesn't really matter. It's whatever works for you commercially, financially, and from a tax perspective. I've talked about the fact that it shouldn't be your local distributor or agent. That is really key. Now, what you often see in agreements with local agencies or local distributors is, look, we're going to have this great relationship, but if it does go wrong, you have the trademark registered in your own name, but you promise to give it back to me if this relationship turns to custard and we decide to terminate. It looks great on paper, but that is so not going to work in practice. Again, you'll be talking about an agreement which is probably subject to New Zealand law, which is maybe in Vietnam or some country like that. So then you're going to have to get that contract enforced in New Zealand law in Vietnam against the distributor. Very, very hard. However, trademark registration is subject automatically to Vietnamese law, and so you can then go directly to a local lawyer in Vietnam and say, I've got the right to act here. You don't need to get all convoluted in terms of your commercial arrangement with the distributors. And of course, when you're in a fight like that, it means it's exceptionally hard to take somebody else into that relationship, no matter how bad the incumbent is. So again, you should own that mark. You should absolutely own that mark in those countries.